The laughter started quietly, almost as if it were a joke not meant to be heard. Then it built up, turning into a full, mocking cackle. At the dining table, Emma sat stiffly, gripping her fork tightly. Across from her, her younger sister, Nora, wiped away tears of laughter, her face split in disbelief. "Emma, come on," Nora said between laughs. "You're not wearing that to my wedding. Not looking like that." Their mother, Diane, sighed dramatically, swirling her glass of wine. She always acted as the peacemaker, though her words were anything but kind. "Nora, don't be so harsh," she chided in her patronizing voice. Then she turned to Emma with a forced, tight smile. "Sweetheart, don't you think you'd feel better if you lost a little weight before the wedding?" Emma felt the weight of her mother's words sink deep into her chest. She didn't need to ask what they really meant. It wasn't about health. It was about image. It was about them. Her father, Michael, barely looked up from his meal. "It's a special occasion, Emma," he muttered. "You don't want to look out of place." Emma swallowed hard, her eyes straying toward the garment bag hanging in the hallway. Inside was the dress Nora had chosen for her, a size too small. A silent insult. Nora leaned in closer, her voice dripping with false concern. "I mean, Emma, it's not just the dress. It's about your health too, okay?" The word health hit Emma like a slap, always used as an excuse to mask their cruelty. She sat in silence, their judgment a wall pressing in on her. But this time something inside Emma shifted. She wasn't going to keep silent. She wasn't going to let them break her. With a determined motion, Emma pushed her chair back, the scrape of wood against tile cutting through the silence. "You know what?" she said, her voice calm despite the trembling in her hands. "Fine. I'll lose weight." Diane's face lit up, thinking she had won. "That's the spirit, sweetheart," she said smugly. Michael nodded once, still not looking at Emma. "Just don't make it a big deal." Nora raised her glass with a grin. "Finally, you're making sense." Emma didn't respond. Instead, she walked toward the door, her steps heavy but purposeful. They thought they had broken her. They had no idea how wrong they were. The gym smelled of sweat, rubber, and something else. Something that felt like determination. Weights clanged. Music blasted. Feet thudded on treadmills. Emma stood frozen at the entrance, hands clenched into fists. She felt like an imposter. She felt out of place. "You good?" a voice asked, breaking her concentration. Emma turned to find a man with dark brown eyes standing nearby. He was tall, built, his presence calm but commanding. This was the personal trainer she'd nervously contacted the night before, Zane. Emma swallowed hard, her throat dry. "Yeah, I'm good." Zane raised an eyebrow. "You sure? 'Cause you look like you're about to turn around and run." She laughed nervously. "I'm just not used to this." Zane smirked. "Well, let's get you used to it then." "Slow and steady," Zane said as they got on the treadmill. "Nothing fancy yet. Just movement." The idea of slow didn't feel easy. Not even close. 10 minutes in, Emma's legs were burning. Her breath came in sharp bursts. Sweat ran down her back. She glanced in the mirror across from her and winced. Red-faced. Struggling. She looked like someone trying too hard to fit in. And then the voices came, old ones. Nora's voice, loud and cruel. "You move like a cow. No wonder no one wants you. People stare because they're shocked." Emma clenched her fists, fighting the urge to stop. She wasn't doing this for Nora anymore. Not for anyone but herself. Zane kept walking beside her, adjusting the speed. "You're gonna want to quit," he said calmly. "Your body's gonna fight you. Your mind's gonna scream at you. But if you push through, even just a little, that's when the real change happens." Emma nodded, too out of breath to respond, but Zane's words stuck with her. This wasn't just about her weight. This was about years of pain, of silence, of swallowing insults with a smile. When the session ended, Emma felt like she'd been hit by a truck. Every muscle screamed. Zane handed her a water bottle. "You survived." Emma laughed weakly. Barely. Are you coming back tomorrow? He asked. Emma thought of Nora's smirk, her mother's condescending tone, her father's indifference. She met Zane's eyes and nodded. Yeah, I'll be back. The next morning, Emma's alarm blared at 5:30 a.m., dragging her from a restless sleep. Her body protested, aching in places she never knew existed. She could quit. No one would care. But she cared. She forced herself out of bed, slipped on her workout clothes and headed out. Zane was already at the gym when Emma arrived, leaning casually against the counter. "Didn't think you'd show," he said, his grin wide. "Neither did I," Emma replied, stretching awkwardly. "Well, that's the first win. Let's get started." The workout didn't get easier. If anything, it got harder. But something inside Emma had changed. She wasn't just enduring anymore. She was pushing through. Days turned into weeks. The gym became part of her rhythm. Early mornings, protein shakes, sore muscles. And Zane kept pushing her. More weights, longer runs. And Emma didn't complain. One morning, Emma paused as she caught sight of herself in the gym mirror. She looked different. Her face was thinner. Her shirt clung differently to her arms. Her posture had changed. She didn't recognize the woman staring back at her. Zane noticed her pause and smirked. "Told you it'd happen." Emma allowed a small, real smile to form. "Yeah. You did." That day, as she walked out of the gym, Emma felt lighter. Not just in her body, but in her spirit. The changes were no longer just in the mirror. People at the gym greeted her differently. Nods, smiles. She wasn't invisible anymore. One Sunday, Emma visited her parents' house. Diane opened the door and froze, eyes scanning Emma's new appearance. Her fitted black dress hugged her body in a way that made her look confident, strong. Michael looked up from his paper. Nora's fiancé, Liam, blinked in surprise. "Wow, Emma. You look different." Nora's smile tightened. "Yeah, she does." Emma returned a cool smile. "Thanks, Liam." Dinner felt awkward. The usual chatter felt strained. Emma didn't touch the mashed potatoes or buttery rolls. Instead, she pulled out her prepped meal, grilled chicken and greens. Diane raised an eyebrow. "Sweetheart, you've lost quite a bit of weight." Emma nodded. "I have." Nora stabbed her fork into her food, her tone sharp. "Didn't think you'd actually go through with it." Emma smiled, not missing a beat. "Neither did you." The room fell silent. Something had shifted, and they all felt it. Nora tried to take control of the conversation again. "Anyway," she said too brightly, "the wedding's coming up fast. We need to stay on track. So much still to do." Emma sipped her water, already knowing what was coming. "I assume you've got your dress sorted." Nora continued. Diane chimed in, her voice sweet but loaded with judgment. "We ordered your dress months ago, Emma. But with all these changes, we're not sure it will fit anymore." Emma raised an eyebrow. "So what, you're saying I look too good for it?" Nora froze, her fork midair. Michael cleared his throat. "We may need to make adjustments, just so there aren't any disruptions." Emma leaned forward, a slow smile spreading across her face. "Are you asking me to tone myself down for your wedding?" Nora scoffed, voice dripping with irritation. "Oh my God, Emma. Don't be dramatic." She tilted her head. "Is that a yes?" Diane sighed, rubbing her temples. "No one's saying that, sweetheart. But you've changed, and we just don't want the attention shifting away from Nora on her big day." Emma let out a dry laugh. "So let me get this straight. You pushed me to lose weight. And now that I actually look good, I'm suddenly a problem?" Liam glanced up, clearly uncomfortable. Nora rolled her eyes. "Don't turn this into a pity party. This is about me, Emma." Emma met her sister's glare, something inside her hardening. She had played the quiet one long enough. She leaned back, folding her arms. "I'll wear whatever I want." Nora's nostrils flared. "Excuse me." "You heard me," Emma replied coolly. "I worked hard for this. I'm not going to dull myself down just because you suddenly feel threatened. Dan gasped. Emma, that's not fair. No, Emma cut her off. What's not fair is how you've treated me my whole life. She stood, grabbing her purse. I'm done playing by your rules. If you can't handle me now, that's your problem, not mine. She walked toward the door, pausing only once. Oh, and Nora. Her voice was calm, but the heat in her eyes made Nora sit back. If you're so scared of me stealing your spotlight, maybe it's because you never really had one to begin with. Nora's face turned scarlet, her mouth opening in shock. But Emma didn't wait for a reply. She walked out, heart pounding but not with fear. The cool night air hit Emma's face as she stepped outside. She took a deep breath, the tension in her chest loosening for the first time in years. She had spent most of her life shrinking, trying to fit into a family that only saw her as a shadow. Her phone buzzed. A message from Nora. You're being selfish. You're making everything about you. Come back inside and apologize. Emma scoffed. The old her would have read that text a dozen times, heart sinking. Now she saw it clearly. It wasn't guilt. It was control. She didn't reply. Instead, she drove back to her apartment, the music loud, fingers tapping the steering wheel. She felt electric, alive in a way she hadn't felt in years. Later that night, she curled up on her couch, opening her photo gallery. The early pictures of her fitness journey stared back at her. She looked so tired, so hollow. But the woman in the most recent photo, strong, confident, smiling. A ping interrupted her thoughts. Another message. This time from Zane. How's my favorite client doing? Emma smiled. Still standing. Still thriving. That's what I like to hear, Zane replied. Proud of you. Emma felt warmth flood her chest. Zane had seen her transformation before anyone else. He had pushed her when she wanted to quit. He had believed in her when she didn't believe in herself. Another buzz. A message from Diane. Emma, you're being unreasonable. Nora is your sister. You owe it to her to make her wedding special. Emma exhaled long and slow. She was tired of being guilt-tripped for choosing herself. She stared at the screen, fingers hovering. Finally she typed. I don't owe Nora anything. Not anymore. She set the phone down, poured herself a glass of wine, and curled up under a blanket. The quiet of her apartment felt peaceful, not lonely. It was the sound of freedom. No more begging for approval. No more shrinking. Emma had made a choice. And for once, it was for herself. The next morning, her phone was flooded with missed calls. Angry text. You embarrassed us. Nora is in tears. You've ruined everything. Emma didn't flinch. She'd heard it all before. Their routine never changed. Nora played the victim, and Emma became the villain. But not this time. She got dressed, laced up her sneakers, and walked out the door. Zane was already at the gym when Emma arrived. Someone's got a storm cloud over their head, he joked as she stepped onto the treadmill. Emma smirked. Family drama. Zane nodded knowingly. Let me guess, they loved you when they could control you. Now that you're your own person, they don't know what to do with you. Emma's steps faltered. How did you know that? Zane shrugged. Because I've been there. People hate when you outgrow the version of you they were comfortable with. Emma grabbed the treadmill handle. So what do you do? She asked. He smiled. You keep going. As the session went on, Emma's thoughts cleared. Every weight she lifted felt like she was pushing away a piece of the past. When she left the gym, her phone rang. Nora. She considered ignoring it but was done running. She answered. What? Seriously, Emma? That's how you greet your sister. Since when do you care about being my sister? There was a pause. I just don't understand why you're being so difficult. It's my wedding, and you're making everything about you. No, Nora, Emma said, voice calm. For the first time, I'm making something about myself. And you can't stand it. You think you're special now because you lost a few pounds. Emma smiled. No, Nora. I've always been special. You just refused to see it. The silence on the other end was deafening. Then Nora's voice returned, bitter. You're still the same pathetic girl who cried because nobody wanted her. Emma flinched, but only for a second. She closed her eyes, steadying her breath. Then she replied, soft but strong. Looks like you finally got what you wanted, Nora. What's that? You don't have a sister anymore. She hung up, fingers hovering over the screen a moment before she blocked the number. No hesitation. No second-guessing. Just peace. She dropped her phone into her gym bag and walked away. The next morning, Emma sipped her coffee in silence, a content smile on her lips. The peace of her apartment wrapped around her like a warm blanket. Then came a knock at the door. Hard. Deliberate. She sighed and opened it, already knowing. Diane stood there, arms folded. We need to talk. Emma stepped aside. There's nothing left to say. Diane walked in anyway, heels clicking. What you did was unacceptable. You mean standing up for myself? Emma asked. Yeah, I can see how that would shock you. Diane narrowed her eyes. Why do you always have to be so difficult? Why do you always need someone to blame? Emma fired back. Diane huffed. Nora's devastated. Nora's always devastated when she doesn't get her way. Diane's face tightened. She's your sister. No, Emma said flatly. She's your favorite. Let's not pretend you treated us the same. Silence. Diane's mask cracked for a moment, shame flickering across her face before disappearing. So you're really not coming to the wedding? Diane asked. Emma tilted her head. Why would I? You pushed me to change, and now that I have, you can't handle it. Diane clutched her purse tightly, looking both defeated and defiant. You've made a mistake, Emma. Emma shook her head. No. I finally made the right choice. She didn't wait for her mother's response. Instead, she turned and walked away. This time, Emma knew what freedom felt like. The weeks passed. Emma's routine stayed the same. Early mornings at the gym, healthy meals, and no more apologies. She was proud of herself. For the first time in years, she wasn't trying to prove anything to anyone. She was just living. And living well. Then came the day of Nora's wedding. Emma didn't feel the need to attend. She didn't even feel the pull of guilt. Instead, she spent the day the way she wanted. At the beach, wearing her favorite dress, laughing with friends who actually understood her. That evening, her phone buzzed again. A new message from Nora. Are you happy now? Emma read it but didn't reply. She didn't need to. She was free.